Today I want to discuss the topic of political risk for internationally active enterprises. Why I think this is important? Do you remember the downing of a Russian fighter jet by the Turkish Air Force in November 2015? Apart from the human tragedy this conflict conveys, there is also a dimension that immediately affects enterprises. As a consequence to the strike, Russia banned Turkish tourist destinations from its travel agencies. Now, if you run a high-end tourist resort in Turkey, this ban might severely affect your performance as you lose one of your main target groups overnight. In February 2016, the Turkish tourism region of Antalya counted 55 Russian tourists, as compared to 8,300 in February 2015. But let us get back to the question what political risk actually is. In international business studies, political risk is understood as actions or decisions that are carried out by the host country's public authorities or a country's societal movements that negatively impact or interfere with the operations that are typically expected from the international enterprise and have negative consequences for the company's performance in the host country. When taking a closer look into this definition, we see that first of all we talk about international enterprises. So this definition does not contain domestic firms and the way they are potentially impacted through certain actions, but the focus is on international enterprises. This is because the question of political risk factors emerged with the increasing internationalization of business in the 1970s, when organizations started getting interested in the political risk factors of countries that are rooted in their political and institutional environment. Secondly, political risk considers the political, institutional, and societal context of a country, instead of only examining the economic and competitive environment in strategic decision-making. Also, thirdly, it is made clear that the actions or decisions relevant for the international enterprise either stem from a country's public authorities or from groups and movements that are not under government control but present in a country. The latter refers to terrorist movements or rebel groups that might endanger the operations of an international enterprise. And finally, fourthly, the risk must interfere with the regular and typically expected operations of the firm in the country. Certainly, if the company blackmails and is prosecuted for that and is denied any further licenses for its business, this would not be included in the above definition. Political risk factors can either root outside of a country's administration, for instance the risk of bilateral conflict such as Turkey and Russia, or inside of a country's political system. In the latter case, we can identify variables such as institutional ambiguity, which is the duality of formal and informal institutions, or secondly, systemic favoritism, which would be the preferential treatment of in-group members, and thirdly, systemic corruption, which refers to the illegal exchange of goods or services against monetary contributions. All these internal risk factors will be examined in greater detail during the Business Talk Black Sea region. I will take a close look at risk factors in the markets of the Black Sea region that are beyond economic risks such as GDP development, demand structures and competition. Instead, I will unveil political risk factors that impact firm performance in these markets and will highlight the pitfalls of political systems which are characterized through the parallel existence of formal and informal institutions. Following a brief theoretical insight into political risk analysis, I will discuss a number of cases from the Black Sea region and conclude with managerial implications of these political risk factors.
Created using Powtoon.